Welcome to Storytime with Nanny. This is day 24. Let's start with a book by Max. They do not list an author on this story. It says it's illustrated by Ann and Mike Ricketts, and it's by Max Books. God bless Mommy, she looks after us all day and night too. It is God bless is the name of it. God bless Mommy, she looks after us all day and night time too. God bless Daddy, he takes care of us and shows us what to do. God bless our home, may everyone keep well and warm inside. God bless our pets, look after them should they run off and hide. God bless our land, the trees, the sky, the birds that sweetly sing. God bless each lovely flower that grows and every living thing. God bless those we see each day, keep us safe in all our play. God bless sick children, make them well, to you, dear God, we pray. God bless children everywhere, teach us to love each other. Show us how to live and share like sisters and like brothers. And that is how God wants us to get along, is to get along like brothers and sisters. This is the Bridge book. Dolores Shimon wrote this. It's an Rebecca book. It's illustrated by Rosalie Hall. It does have some cute stories in it. We're going to start with Tilly Turtle. Tilly Turtle was a little baby turtle. She lived all alone on the grassy bank of a stream, and one day it started to sprinkle. Pat, pat, pat-a-pat. At first, just a few drops fell lightly down. Pitter-pat, pitter-pat. Then it started to rain harder. Splash, splash, splash. The lightning flashed and the thunder rumbled. Rumble, tumble, splash. Rumble, tumble, splash. The wind blew. Hoo. Tilly Turtle shrank far, far back into her shell. It rained and it rained. Soon the stream was nearly filled at the top. All the ground was wet. Poor Tilly Turtle felt all alone. I'm so cold, she said with a shiver. Tilly Turtle grew colder and colder. Ka-choo, she sneezed. At last the rain stopped. Tilly Turtle stretched out her neck. I do not want to live alone, she said. I will look for a new home. Slowly she crept along in search of a new home. Suddenly Tilly Turtle felt a thump on her shell. What is that? She asked as she shrank back into her shell. Tilly Turtle started to tremble. She was being lifted clear off the ground. Who are you? Quivered Tilly Turtle. What will you do with me? Up, down, bumpity bump, up, down, bump. On and on went the child with Tilly Turtle, up and down, bumpity bump, up, down, bump. Says he's walking and holding her. That's what it feels like, isn't it? After a while, Tilly Turtle found herself in a smooth, dry box. She had been taken from that lonely home on the grassy bank. She crept slowly into one corner. At last I can go to sleep, she sighed as she shrank back into her shell. When Tilly Turtle woke up, she wanted to eat. What is this? She asked as she crept closer to the water. Will it taste good? Nibble, nibble. It tastes as good as a bug. Snap, snap, chomp. Soon Tilly Turtle had eaten all of the turtle food. Each day Tilly Turtle had good food to eat. Each day she had fresh water. But best of all, Tilly Turtle did not have to live alone. She was now living with a kind child. I was looking for a new home, she said, but the new home found me. Isn't that sweet? We do have to take good care of our pets. That worked out for Tilly Turtle, and it worked out for the child that found her and gave her a new home. This one is called Something Interesting. It was a beautiful day. Mother Tom and little Amy were shopping. They had been to several stores. Now it was time to start home. They hurried to the bus stop, but the bus was gone. We have missed the bus, said Mother. We will wait for the next one to come. Oh no, sighed Tom as he looked at his wristwatch. That could be a long time. Oh no, repeated little Amy. That could be a long time. We will have, we will wait here in the fresh air, said Mother with a smile. Maybe something interesting will happen. Mother was always saying maybe something interesting will happen, and almost every time something interesting did happen. Tom and little Amy looked up and down the street. They saw the tall trees and the short round bushes. They saw a beautiful fountain in front of a store. It was not long before Amy said, I see something interesting. I see some big birds on that house across the street. Oh, those are just pigeons, replied Tom. Seeing pigeons is not having something interesting happen. Tom looked away, but little Amy still watched. Suddenly she called out, Look, Mother, look, Tom. Somebody's grandfather is coming. All the pigeons are with him. Tom and Mother looked. They saw an old man walking slowly up the street. His hair was gray. He had a kind-looking face. That was why little Amy called him somebody's grandfather. Somebody's grandfather put a coin into a peanut machine and got some peanuts. He put in another coin. He put some peanuts into his pocket. Then he began to feed the playful pigeons. They picked up peanuts around his feet. The pigeons ate peanuts out of his hand. One pigeon took peanuts from his pocket. Tom and little Amy crept closer and closer. When somebody's grandfather saw them, he said, Put out your hand, young man. Here, little girl, this should be enough. He gave them each a handful of peanuts. At first, the pigeons did not eat from Tom or little Amy's hands, but Tom and little Amy stood still. At last, a pigeon flew down and took a peanut from Tom's hand. Then a pigeon ate a peanut from little Amy's hand. After that, all the pigeons tried to see who could get the most peanuts. Soon, the peanuts were all gone. Just then, the bus came, and away flew all the pigeons. Thank you, said Tom and little Amy to somebody's grandfather. We will feed the pigeons the next time we come to town. They waved goodbye from the bus window. Somebody's grandfather waved back. Something interesting certainly did happen, said Tom. We made some new friends. Well, somebody's grandfather wasn't someone they knew, but their mom was there, so that was fine. But they did get to learn how to feed the pigeons. And they got to feed the pigeons, and they made some new pigeon friends. So that was cool. This is called Jerry Learns to Work. Jerry was a little boy who liked to play. He enjoyed riding his new bicycle. He loved to run through the pasture in the warm sunshine. He liked to chase butterflies and smell the sweet flowers. Jerry had no little brothers or sisters to talk with, so Jerry talked to the animals, the insects, and the flowers. He pretended that the animals, the insects, and the flowers talked to him. One day his mother said, Jerry, I think you are big enough to work a little more. I would rather play, stated Jerry. Jerry's mother replied, If you have some work to do, do it. Do not sit and pout all day. Naught was ever done that way. Work while there is work to do, then play. And what his mother spoke is something that was written by Emma L. Eldridge. But just now you may play. Jerry raced through the green pasture into the cool woods. As a gray squirrel ran across his path, Jerry called to it, Mr. Squirrel, you do nothing but play and eat nuts, do you? My dear neighbor, chattered the squirrel, you are very wrong. I have a large family. I gather nuts for them. I work and work to store enough food to last all winter. I cannot stop now to talk with you, added the squirrel as he scampered away. Just then a bee came buzzing by. Little bee, spoke Jerry, do you have any work to do? I never see you doing anything but getting honey from the lovely flowers. Indeed, buzzed the bee, it seems to me that I never have time for anything but work. After I have gathered honey from the flowers, I fly to my hive to fill the honeycomb with the honey, and away he flew to a sweet pink clover. Jerry walked on a little farther. He saw some ants that seemed to be in a great hurry. As he watched them, he saw one ant carrying a very large crumb. Isn't that crumb too heavy for you? Asked Jerry with compassion. Oh, said the ant, dropping his burden, it does weigh a lot, but I am so happy to get the crumb that I really enjoy carrying it. The little ant picked up the crumb and hurried away. Jerry sat down on a rock to rest. It seems to me, thought Jerry, that God, our Creator, has given everything something to do, and it is very funny they all seem to like their work. Then Jerry walked slowly toward home. The squirrels, the bees, and the ants all have something to do, said Jerry to himself. I am the only one who is not working. Mother, Jerry called, I would like to help you with the work. Jerry decided he was smart because he'd always enjoyed watching all the animals, but he realized they were all working. So he needed to get to work too, didn't he? He needed to be a help. This book is called Strong and True. It is an Rebecca book. It's by Laurel Hicks and it's illustrated by Walter Kerr. It has a lot of good stories in here. Yeah, this one just has a lot of good stories. We're going to start with Little Sunshine, and that's written by Etta Belsdale. Little Sunshine. Long ago, there was a little girl named Elsa. She had a very old grandmother with white hair and wrinkles all over her face. Elsa's father had a large house that stood on a hill. Elsa's father had, each day the sun peeked in at the south windows. It made everything look bright and shiny. The grandmother lived on the north side of the house. The sun never came to her room. One day Elsa said to her father, "Why doesn't the sun peep into Grandma's room? I know she would like to have him." "The sun cannot look in at the north windows," said her father. "Then let us turn the house around, Father." "It is much too large for that," said her father. "Will Grandma never have any sunshine in her room?" asked Elsa. "No, my child, unless you can carry some to her." After that, Elsa tried and tried to think how she could carry the sunshine to her grandmother. When she played in the field, she saw the grass and the flowers nodding their heads. The birds sang sweetly as they flew from tree to tree. Everything seemed to say, "We love the sun. We love the bright, warm sun. Grandma would love it too," thought the child. "I must take some to her." When she was in the garden one morning, she felt the sun's warm rays in her golden hair. Then she sat down and she saw them in her lap. "I will take them in my dress," she thought, and carried them to Grandma's room. So she jumped up and ran into the house. "Look, Grandma, look, I have some sunshine for you," she cried, and she opened her dress, but there was not a ray to be seen. "It peeps out of your eyes, my child," said the grandmother, "and it shines in your sunny golden hair. I do not need the sun when I have you with me." Elsa did not understand how the sun could peep out of her eyes, but she was glad to make her dear grandmother happy. Every morning she played in the garden, then she ran to her grandmother's room to carry the sunshine in her eyes and hair. The dear grandmother told her stories until the little girl's eyes sparkled with joy. That is the sweet story, isn't it? It also says sunbeams. Kind words are like sunbeams that sparkle as they fall, and loving smiles are sunshine, a light of joy to all. I think that's a very sweet story and poem, and the grandmother, she was so happy to see her granddaughter, that all the joy and all the love that the granddaughter had for her made her feel like the sun was shining on her, didn't it? She felt loved and blessed when her granddaughter came to see her. The Raven and the Robin. One morning in spring, a raven was sitting on one of the branches of an old apple tree. I'm sorry, I'll start over again. I forgot the author, but the author's name on this one just says An Old Fable, and it's an old story. The Raven and the Robin. One morning in spring, a raven was sitting on one of the branches of an old apple tree. He looked very cross and could only say, "Croak, croak." Soon a little robin came with a song into the same tree. "Good morning to you," she said to the raven. But the raven would not look at the robin. She looked only at the clouds and croaked something about the cold wind. "I told you good morning," said the robin. "You seem very happy this morning," said the raven. "Why should I not be happy?" asked the robin. Spring has come and everybody should be glad and happy. I am not happy, said the raven. Don't you see those black clouds? It is going to snow. Very well, said the robin. I shall go on singing till it comes. A song will not make it any colder. You are a very simple bird, said the raven. Then the robin flew to a maple tree and sang for a long time. But the raven sat still and made himself very unhappy. The wind is so cold, he said, it never seems to blow from the right way for me. Very soon the sun came out warm and bright, and the clouds went away, but the simple raven was as sad as ever. The grass began to spring up in the fields, green leaves and flowers were seen in the woods. Birds flew here and there in the glad sunshine. The raven sat alone on the branch of an old apple tree. It is always too warm or too cold, said he. The sun is shining just now, but it will not be long till it will burn me up. After that it will be colder than before. I don't see how anyone can be so silly as to sing. Just then the robin came back with a straw in her mouth. Well, my friend, asked she, where's your snow? Don't say anything, croaked the raven. It will snow all the harder for this sunshine. And snow or rain, said the robin, you will keep on croaking. For my part, I shall look on the bright side of everything and have a song for every day in the year. Which was wiser, the raven or the robin? You think maybe it was the robin? I think God wants us to be happy in all things, and at all times we can find some joy or something to be happy and thankful for. And I feel like the robin is living the right way, because if it's going to rain, she's still going to be happy. If it's going to snow, she's decided she's still going to be happy. Now the raven doesn't matter if it's sun shining or raining or snowing. He's decided he's just not going to be happy, no matter what. It's either going to be too hot, or it's going to be too cold, or something's going to be wrong. But the robin is very wise, and the robin decided that the robin's going to be happy no matter what. And that's how God wants us to be. This is called, it's a little poem by Lewis Carroll called The Melancholy Pig. There was a pig that sat alone beside a ruined pump. By day and night he made his moan. It would have stirred a heart of stone to see him wring his hoofs and groan, because he could not jump. Well, he decided because there was one thing that he couldn't do, he wasn't going to enjoy all the things that he could, and that's silly, isn't it? He's like the raven and not the robin. This story is called Ring, and this is actually the name of a dog. Ring and the Bone. Here, Ring, called Paul. Here's a big bone for you. Mother said you could have it. Arf, said Ring as he grabbed the bone. It was his way of saying thank you. Oh, look, Paul, said Joy. Ring likes his bone. See him shake it back and forth in his mouth. Now where is he going, said Paul. Do you think he'll hide the bone, Joy? Let's follow him and see. Ring ran this way, then he ran that way. Wait, Ring, called Joy. Now you're running too fast for us. Now look, said Paul. Ring is running to the stream. Hurry up, Joy, let's catch up with him. I want to see what he'll do. Ring ran faster and faster until he came to the stream. Ring ran onto the bridge. He ran right into the middle of the bridge, and then he stopped. What is he doing now, said Paul. What is he looking at in the water? I know, said Joy. Ring thinks he sees another dog in the water. The other dog has a bone too. But that's not a dog, said Paul. Ring just sees his own face. I know, said Joy, but Ring doesn't know that. Listen to him growl. Ring growled and growled at the dog in the water. Ring wants that dog's bone, said Joy. Shame on you, Ring. You have one bone already. Don't be so greedy. But Ring did not listen to Joy. He kept on growling. Grrr, he said. Ruff. Still the dog in the water just looked at Ring. Ring growled louder and louder, then he jumped. But Ring did not find the dog. He did not find the bone. All he found was a cold, wet stream. Down his bone went to the bottom of the stream. Oh, Ring, said Paul, you were too greedy. You didn't get the other bone, and now you lost your own bone too. Ring came out of the water, then he began to shake. He shook and he shook and he shook. Stop, Ring, cried Joy. Now we're wet too. You're a bad, bad dog. Come on, Joy, said Paul. Let's take Ring home and get him dry. After all, he's just a dog. Dogs don't know that it is wrong to be greedy. And Paul and Joy and Ring went back home to dry off. Well, the dog didn't know that he was being greedy or that it's wrong to be greedy, but the kids knew, didn't they? And if he hadn't been so greedy, he wouldn't have lost the bone he already had to start with. He's kind of like the pig we just read about, and kind of like the raven. He's not happy with what he's got. He wants to find more or something else that he thinks he wants, and not be happy with what he has like the robin was. Happy with what he had. This is a poem called God's Care. Oh, yeah, Ringing the Bone was written by Laurel Hicks. And I'm looking for the poem, but they didn't have these in order. God's Care, it's by an unknown author. Do you know how many stars are shining in the sky? Do you know how many clouds each day go floating by? Each day, God the Lord has counted all. He would miss one should it fall. Do you know how many children go to bed at night, that without a care or trouble wake up with the morning light? God in heaven each name can tell. He knows you too and loves you well. God knows how many of us there are. The Bible tells us He knows how many hairs we have on our head. He knows, if He knows that, He knows everything. He knows if something happens, it says to a sparrow, so how much more does He know if something happens to us? And God loves us and wants what's best for us. This next story is called Why the Deer Has Antlers. It's an Indian tale, and it's retold by Clarence R. Stone. Long, long ago, the deer had no antlers. He was a great runner. All the animals knew it. The rabbit was a great jumper. The animals knew this too. They had seen him going over the ground very fast. I wonder if he can jump faster than the deer can run, said one animal. That started them talking, and they talked and they talked. Some thought the deer could run faster, some thought the rabbit could jump faster. After much talk, they planned a race. A fine large pair of antlers was to be the prize. It was planned for them to run through the woods and back again. There were many bushes in the woods. It would be hard work to run through such bushy woods. The plan was to have them start together. The one who came back first would get the antlers. On the day of the race, all the animals came to the starting place. The antlers were put down on the ground to show the starting place. Everyone was looking at the antlers, thinking and saying what fine horns they were. The rabbit was doing some thinking too. This is new country to me, he said. I want to take a look through the bushes, for I am to run. The other animals thought that was fair, so off he went. But he stayed and he stayed. It was long past time for the race to begin. The animals began to look at each other. I think we should send someone to find him, said Mr. Squirrel. He knew that the rabbit was full of tricks. They sent Mr. Fox off to find him. What do you suppose he saw? He saw the rabbit in the middle of the woods tearing away at the bushes, biting them off and pulling them away. He was making himself a nice little path through the woods. The fox turned around quietly and came back. He told the other animals what he had seen. There were some who didn't believe it. By and by the rabbit came, hop, 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 and my lady said. Then they told him what the fox had said. Do you know he stood there and said it was not so? He jumped up and down and said the fox had not seen him. At that the animals all went to see. There they saw for themselves the nice little path. The animals decided there would be no race. Anyone who played tricks like that had no right to enter a race at all. They handed the antlers to the deer. He has put them on and worn them ever since. They told the rabbit that from that day on he would have to cut down bushes for a living, and to this day he does. Well, he was trying to be tricky, wasn't he? And the deer didn't even have to join in the race or win the race to be given the antlers. Just because he didn't cheat, he already won, didn't he? Now this story We're going to need to go over a couple of words before we start this one. There's merchant, and a merchant is a person who buys and sells things. It's like the owner of a store. And honest means always telling the truth. And the name of the story, I'm looking for the author on here because there it is, Two Honest Men. Just says it's an old tale, meaning they don't know who. I always thought it was sad when you don't know who the author of a poem or a story is, but we don't know the author of this one. Two Honest Men. In a far away country there was once a poor man who had long wanted to have a home that he could call his own. He worked very hard and at last saved enough money to buy a little farm. One day he was plowing in one of his fields. He turned up a pot that was full of gold. "Oh, how rich I would be if this gold were only mine," he said. Nobody saw him when he found the gold, and he might have kept it all for himself if he had wished. But no, he said, "It is not mine. I may never be rich, but I can always be honest." He had paid a good price for his farm, but he did not think that he had bought the gold that was in the ground. He took up the gold and carried it to the merchant who had sold him the land. He said to him, "Here is some gold that was left in the ground I bought from you. I turned it up with my plow this morning." "Why did you bring it to me?" said the merchant. "Because it belongs to you," said the farmer. "No, it does not. It belongs to you, for I sold you the field and all that was in it. The gold is not mine, and I shall not take any of it." But the farmer said, "I paid for nothing but the land. The gold is not mine, but yours." For a long time the two men talked, each trying to make the other take the gold. Both were honest, and neither would keep what he did not think belonged to him. Their friends came around them and said, "Let the farmer keep half and the merchant half." But they did not think it was right to do even this. At last the farmer said, "Let us go and tell the king about it. He will know what is best." "Yes," said the merchant, "let us go and tell him." The king heard first the farmer and then the merchant. "It is hard to tell which of you is owner of the gold," he said, "but it is easy to see that you are both very honest men." Then he asked if they had any children. "I have a son," said the merchant. "And I have a daughter," said the farmer. Then said the king, "I can tell you what to do with the gold. If the merchant's son will marry the farmer's daughter, it can be given to the young people, and they can buy themselves a home with it." Nothing could have pleased the merchant's son more than this, and the farmer's daughter was well pleased too, for the young man was good-looking and brave. And so the trouble was soon ended, and everybody was made glad. That year there was more corn in the farmer's fields than had ever grown before, and the merchant sold so many goods that he had all the gold he could use. Well, they both were honest men, and it came out both for their good, didn't it? Worked out good for both of them. I think we've got time for one more today. This one is called The Selfish Dog in the Manger. A manger is like a barn, and it's an Aesop fable. There was once a cross little dog who lay all day long panting and snarling in a manger, where there was some good hay. A big goat came into the barn for his dinner. "Please get out of the manger," he said to the dog. "I want to eat some hay for my dinner." "I will not get out," snapped the dog. Feeling very hungry, the goat left the barn. The old sheep came into the barn next. "Please move over a bit," she said politely to the dog. "I would like to eat my dinner now." "Move over yourself," snarled the dog. Feeling both hungry and hurt, the sheep left the barn. Finally, a big farm horse came into the barn and looked at the hay. The dog did not even give the horse a chance to speak. He began to growl and bark and snap at the horse with his teeth. "Go away at once," he said to the horse. "I'm tired of all these animals who try to disturb my hay." "Are you planning to eat the hay?" asked the horse. "Of course not," snarled the dog. "Anyone knows that dogs don't eat hay." "Then please let me eat it," cried the horse. "I've been working hard all day, pulling a wagon, and I am very hungry. If you just want to lie down, why don't you lie on those soft blankets over in the corner?" "No," snapped the dog. "I am in the manger, and in the manger I will stay. No one can make me move if I don't want to. You go away, or I will chew your ear off." "What a mean, selfish dog you are," said the old horse sadly. "You can't eat the hay, and yet you won't let anyone else have it. You are the most selfish animal in the whole barnyard." Feeling hungry, hurt, and sad, the horse went away, and the animals of the barnyard never went near the selfish dog again. Well, that was just mean, wasn't it? He wasn't going to eat it, and all the other animals, that was their dinner, and he wouldn't get away from it for them to eat. And that was being selfish, and you know what? He didn't end up having any friends because he was so selfish. So maybe we can learn a story from that. Well, thank you for joining me for Story Time with Nanny today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. And I hope you have a great, blessed day.